Yeah, good evening everyone. Today our research person is Sai Surya Kiran. He is the senior engineer at Qualcomm Technologies. Yeah, welcome to Mr. Sai Surya Kiran. Please share your valuable words on present technologies and about the present technology.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for your introduction. Yeah, now I will share my screen. Please let me know once you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, visible enough.
Yeah, today I will talk something about a verification cycle in ASIC. Uh, I will talk a little bit on design as well, and later on I will talk more on verification because I am a verification guy. Yeah, I mean, first coming to the life cycle of the chip. This is the basic life cycle. I mean, from the specification from paper to chip. These are the different processes involved uh, in developing a chip. The first thing is the specification. There will be some architects who are for this. They will come up with the idea and they will design a specification, and later on that specification will be converted to design with the help of designers. There are multiple stages of design like high level design, low level design, RTL coding. I mean, the high level design and low level design is a kind of thing. It's a planning kind of thing where our design should consist of these components, like that kind of stuff. It will be there. And RTL coding is the point where our coding, I mean, the logic is converted into the code. This is the point where engineers will code the stuff, and then whatever the code coded by the RTL designers will be functionally verified with in this stage, the functional verification stage. And late after it is completely verified, then the next stage is synthesis. There the timing constraints, everything will be checked. Up to this process, it is called as a front end process. And during the front end process, we will be dealing with gate level simulations. And this is about the front end thing. And coming to the back end part, that is the place and route. I mean, this is the backend part, and after that, the chip is going into the fabrication, and after the chip is developed, then also there will be some part of verification called post silicon validation. This is nothing but the verification which is done on the chip, not on the code. I mean, this is about ASIC design flow. I mean, you can interrupt me if you have any doubts. Uh, yeah. And now I will talk a little bit more on each and everything. Yeah, high level design. High level design is nothing but splitting the design into the blocks based on the function. For suppose if your SOC has so much of logic in it, basically what we will do is we will split the entire logic into different parts, different modules at different hierarchies. We will do that, and we will decide how the communication between those two modules should occur. All these things will be decided in high level design. uh, yeah, that is what about this high level design. Only here this is a kind of a planning stage. And then coming to micro level and low level design, here we will decide the logic present in each and every block, like what are the counters, how my state missions FSMs would be, and how many counters and how many registers are there, how many registers are needed. Everything will be decided in micro level design for each and every module. After this is done, we will start coding the logic with the help of some hardware description languages. Basically, we will use Verilog. VHDL is a past one. I mean, it's an outdated one. Now we are using the Verilog thing. And yeah, I mean, this is here I have just mentioned RTL code for the anti-gate. I mean, this is very small thing. Yeah. Basically, we will do behavioral coding. I mean, Verilog is a behavioral thing. Yeah. And next, after the coding, basically we will do the simulation for that particular code. Basically, how it works is both the RTL engineers and the verification engineers will start their work parallelly. And once the RTL is ready, then we will do the simulation between these two things. The verification guys will provide the stimulus to the RTL. These stimulus will be provided with the help of test benches. Basically, we will do simulations between these two, and there are some tools which we are using. These tools will be provided by companies like Mentor, Cadence, Synopsys, like that kind of companies. They will provide the simulators, and in these simulators, we will basically verify the functionality of the code with the help of the simulators. Yeah, I mean here that is what I have explained in points. Yeah, basically we will analyze the behavior with the help of waveforms. Waveforms. I mean there will be some tools like SimVision, Verdi. These are also belongs to the Synopsys and Mentor companies. Yeah, they will provide some tools to debug the waveform. This is about the simulation, and then post silicon validation. What happens is after the chip, we will verify after the chip is fabricated. That means once our logic is after the logic is converted into the chip, we will verify that the chip in a separate lab setup. It is called as validation. We will do post silicon validation on the chip. During this chip, we might see so many number of bugs because it's a real time kind of thing. It's not a simulation, right? It's a real kind of thing. Real time kind of thing. So we will find the real time bugs here. Yeah, basically the ideal design should not consist of any bugs during post silicon validation. If it is properly verified, if our RTL is properly verified, then there is no possibility of seeing bugs in post silicon validation. Yeah, here one advantage is we can find the bugs easily because our simulation time is a real time, right? If you use the tools, our simulation time will be very much high. In post silicon validation, it is a real time, so we can find the bugs very easily. That is one thing about post silicon validation. And yeah, now I have talked about the entire flow. Next, coming to the verification. The verification is mainly intended to verify our design. Uh, Basically, it is one of the most important step in the ASIC development life cycle. Because only domain which checks the functionality is the verification. Verification domain is the only domain which checks the functionality of the DUT. The remaining domains won't depend on the functionality. They will do their things. I mean, they won't consider the functionality. As I mentioned earlier, basically we will develop the models called as test benches. Basically, we will be having so many methodologies for developing a test bench. Like we can develop a Verilog test bench, or we can develop a system Verilog test bench, or we can develop the UVM test bench. UVM is the latest methodology that we are using. There are so many methodologies for developing a test bench. With the help of those test benches, we will verify the functionality of the design. That is one thing. And why verification? Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, verification is the process of ensuring that the given hardware works as expected. And if you see in the industry, for designing one ASIC, there will be 10 designers. For the 10 designers, there will be around 30 verification engineers. That is how the ratio is split between the designers and the verification engineers. There will be more verification engineers to work on a particular design rather than the design engineers. And yeah, I mean the remaining points are as I mentioned earlier. Those are the points actually. Yeah, I mean these are the some of the features of the verification. One is the constrained random stimulus generation. I will talk to you more about this constraint. What is this constraint and what is this randomization? What is this stimulus? Basically, the stimulus is nothing but yeah, I will tell you anyway. I'm going to tell you in the future slides. Yeah. And next the coverage, functional coverage, and then next higher level structures, especially OOPS, object oriented programming. Basically our verification environments like a system Verilog and UVM are using these OOPS concepts to reuse the components easily, to reuse the verification, some of the verification components across multiple projects or multiple things. And assertions is also one of the most important thing in the verification. We basically will check the protocol with the help of these assertions. Yeah. And next, coming to the verification process, yeah, I have mentioned earlier, right? The process of the verification parallel starts parallelly with the design engineers. How it works is basically we will get the spec. Once the spec is properly uh, uh, properly designed, then we will get the spec along with the designers. Both will get the specs parallelly, and the designers should work on the RTL coding, and the verification guys should work on the TB coding. Both should be independent. If both are dependent, means there is a possibility of masking some of the bugs in the DUT. So basically, we won't have any communication during the development of the TB with the designers. Both are not dependent on each other actually. Once the coding is done, then we should parallelly work. We should work collaboratively with the RTL guys. Next thing, yeah, that is what the slides explains. And yeah, these are the basic steps involved in the checking the functionality of chip or design. Basically, the first thing is we need to generate the stimulus with the help of a TB. Generating the stimulus is nothing but generating the inputs to our DUT. That is what this indicates. Generate the stimulus, and then we need to apply the stimulus to the DUT. Generating is one step, and applying it to the DUT interface is the another step. And then we should see the response from the DUT, whether the response is expected or not. We should capture the response, and we should keep the response with us, and we should check the correctness of that response, whether the response of the DUT is proper or not. These are the basic steps involved in the test bench functionality. And then another thing is the directed testing. What does it indicate is, for suppose if there is a DUT, for suppose it is an adder, consider it is an adder which takes two inputs and gives one output. For suppose the directed testing is nothing but generating the stimulus, generating only one particular type of stimulus. See here there are two test cases. In the simulation was there is a test case 1, and the simulation 2 there is another test case 2. The test case 1 will only generate one particular type of stimulus, and the test case 2 will only generate another particular type of stimulus. For suppose if my input is of max, input bit width is more, then if you go by this approach, then there is then we need to write so many test cases to cover all the inputs to the DUT. That's why we don't prefer direct testing. We definitely use directed testing in some particular scenarios. I will tell you what are those scenarios. Basically, during the basically in most of the cases we won't be using this directed test case. This is the test bench that what I have told. Actually, this is the design, and our test bench will give the inputs, and I'll collect the outputs. This is the basic thing. Yeah. Previously, I have told you about the directed testing, right? Basically, what we will do is we will generate our input stimulus in such a way that it is a random thing. That's where the concept of randomization comes into picture. We will generate our stimulus in a random manner, and we will, with the help of only single test case, we can generate multiple types of stimulus. That's where our random stimulus comes into the picture. We can control this randomization thing with the help of some concept called constraints. We can constrain this random stimulus with the help of constraints. This is the major important part in verification. With the help of this random nature of the stimulus, with the help of fewer test cases only, we can achieve the verification of our functionality, DUT functionality. This is one of the breakthrough for our verification. Yeah, and yeah. Yeah, this is the example for system Verilog environment. See, if you see the bottom part, 1 second. Yeah. If you see the bottom part, this is our DUT. This is our design under test. This is our DUT. This is our RTL. Now our intention is to verify this particular DUT. What we will do is this is a typical system Verilog environment. I mean, the Verilog environment won't be look like this. Verilog environment will be it's just a normal module kind of thing. Normal how the RTL looks like. Our TB also looks like the same. But the system Verilog is a different thing. Here it uses the OOPS concepts and there is a predefined structure for it. And we are using some components called driver, monitor, and scoreboard, and transaction and mailbox. See, what we will do is we will generate a transaction here. I mean, this is the item. Item is nothing but what are the inputs that I am giving to my DUT. We will basically convert that input into variables and we will consider it as an item. And we will within this generator, we are randomizing our item. I mean, that means our input is getting randomized in this generator, and we are putting it in a mailbox. Mailbox is nothing but a structure like kind of thing in C. We will basically put in a mailbox, and the driver will get that item. That means that stimulus, and it will drive to the DUT through this interface. This is an interface. It will drive it to the DUT through this interface, and this is where the this entire flow is the applying the stimulus part. I mean, generating and applying the stimulus part. And then what we will do is in the same test bench we will be having monitors and scoreboards. What it will do is it will collect the response. I mean, see, if you see the input monitor, what it will do is it will collect whatever the driver is going to send it to the DUT. It will collect the same information and it will send it to the scoreboard. And then what the output monitor will do is it will collect the output from the DUT and it will send it to the scoreboard. What the scoreboard does is it will depending upon the input which it has provided, it will generate the expected output. It will generate the expected output and it will compare it with the output monitor. If the scoreboard sees any difference between the expected output and the actual output, then it will throw error that the DUT is missing something. There is a bug in the DUT. This is how we are actually comparing the things. This is the basic architecture of the system Verilog environment. This is the top level thing. Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, these are the system Verilog constructs kind of things. I mean, we will use assertions, coverage, randomization, constraints, and loops concepts. I mean, randomization and constraints both are dependent on each other, and coverage I will tell you, and assertions I will tell you. Yeah. See, I have told you about the random thing, right? This is the simple code. Actually, here, if my if I consider these are my input pins to my DUT, basically we will declare it as a rand bits, and what we will do is we will randomize the thing. I mean, this is a class. We will create an object for that, and we will randomize this class, and so that the random data will be generated for these variables. And we can actually control this randomization. If suppose my SRC should be the legal values for this SRC are 1 down to 10. I mean 1 to 10. Then we can actually constrain this SRC in a such a way that, see here this SRC, here we are actually constraining our SRC from 10 to 15. SRC should be greater than 10 and it should be less than 15. If we call the randomize method, what it will do is it will randomize the SRC variable in such a way that the value should be fall in between 10 to 15. This is how the constraints and randomization are dependent on each other. Yeah, that is what here this slide is actually explaining. And another thing is the functional coverage. Functional coverage is nothing but the input stimulus coverage. Why we are using the coverage here is to check whether all of our scenarios are properly created or not, are properly tested or not. That is what this will decide actually the functional coverage. For suppose if we get a spec, the verification engineers will develop a test plan. Test plan means it's a collection of all the test cases that I am intended to apply on this particular DUT. We need to cover all those test cases in our verification process. This is what this is what we will track with the help of this functional coverage. Our main goal is to achieve 100% functional coverage. That means we need to test each and every feature which is present in the design. And regarding coverage, there is another thing called as core coverage. Depending upon the stimulus that we have applied from the DB, some part of the code will get triggered in the DUT. Right? Basically, we will collect the coverage on that as well, whether all the parts of the code is triggered or not. If it is not triggered, we will write a directed test cases for that particular to target for that specific code. That is where the directed test cases come into the picture. See, this diagram is actually explaining the same thing. Adding the constraints, and after adding the constraints, what we will do is we will do many runs. I mean, we will do so many runs of the particular test cases, and we will monitor the functional coverage. If I found any holes is nothing but if any part of the code is not covered, we will consider it as a hole. If I get any holes, what I will do is I will write a directed test cases, and then again I will collect my functional coverage. Now, if after writing the directed test cases, my hole will be gone. This is how we will achieve 100% core coverage. If we get 100% core coverage and 100% functional coverage, then our design is 100% verified. We can assume that our RTL is 100% covered, verified. Yeah, how are we actually generating the gathering the coverage data? Basically, there are some constructs in the system Verilog to gather the coverage data, and with the help of some tools, there are some tools which is provided by Cadence and Mentor. With the help of those tools, basically we will collect the coverage and we will monitor and we will analyze the coverage thing. Yeah, this is the same slide. That means 100% thing. Yeah, I mean, what is the regression planning? The regression, see, for suppose during the middle of a project, if you found any RTL bug, I mean any bug, if you ask the designer to fix that bug and the designer fixes that bug, if that particular fix breaks the remaining test cases, that means due to that particular fix, the remaining past test cases are getting failed. Basically, that should not happen. Because that is where the RTL designers need to work actually. The fix which they will provide should not break the previous passing test cases. That we will basically find with the help of this regression. Regression is nothing but running the test cases multiple test cases multiple times. Whenever we got a fix from the RTL designers, then we will basically run the regressions, and if everything seems fine, then that fix is a valid fix. If it is not fine, then we should report that as an invalid fix. Yeah, that is all about verification. Yeah, I mean, please let me know if you have anything, any doubts or something like that.
Thank you, Surya Kiran Anna.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, is there any questions? Is there any questions from the participations? If you have any queries, please ask to our person, because of they working in the Qualcomm technologies. All of you know, can you give the quick summaries or Surya Kiran Anna?
Yeah, tell me.
I will get the one message. Can we have a quick summary? They're asking the quick summary. But okay, Swati, what type of summary you want?
Yeah.